in the end, if you measure up talent for talent, but you're tougher, you're going to win more than you lose. So,
Amen. What's up, squad? Welcome back, West Texas, to another episode of the Permian Basin Playbook. I'm your host, K-Ball. Today we've got a special one. We're coming home today, guys. We're coming home. Joining me as always, my dog's on the mic, the dog, Boosta, and special guest co-host, that boy Audie Frost, Audie Hernandez. Y'all ready
Hello.
to get into it?
Sure, why not?
Y'all had a good weekend so far?
It was a long weekend.
We're sitting down with a man who's poured over 25 years into Texas athletics. He's led programs, built champions, and now he's back where it all started, back in Pecos, Texas. Y'all help me welcome Pecos Barstow Toya ISD Athletic Director Mike Peters. Mike, welcome to the Permian Basin Playbook podcast.
thanks for having me on, Keith.
Yes, sir. We're going to refer to him as Coach today, guys, okay? I think that's where his heart
Coach.
is. You know, Coach, when I spoke to the dog about getting you on, he did mention a little bit that you used to do some good on a baseball field. I just want to confirm this.
Yeah, growing up here, it's one of those things that everyone's pretty good at. So, my dad coached for years. My brother and I played. I mean, um, it's just one of those things. Pecos kids usually can play a little bit of baseball.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. But guys, we're first and 10 with Coach Peters. Y'all ready to get into it?
Let's
Yes,
do it.
sir.
All right, Coach, you've spent over 2 decades in Texas athletics. How have you seen the landscape of high school sports evolve over that time?
Man, that's a good question, and that really it covers a lot of ground. I mean, even from the type of athletes that we have now versus when I got going, and you're talking sports like football, offenses and defenses are totally different. We when I started, we everybody pretty much looked the same, and now it's a spread out game like it is in college and the pros. Um, and a lot of that same stuff is trickling down. NIL stuff, transfer rules, and the state government involved in some of that. I mean, it's not like you went to elementary school, got to the school in the town you lived in, and you played for 4 years there. And if you're good enough, you went to college. It's not like that anymore. There's all kinds of youth sports and select sports and travel, um, club stuff like on the volleyball scene, on the track scene, the club stuff. It's really good for kids. It's building better athletes. They're getting coaching all the time. They're getting participation, touches on the ball all the time. But it's made the coaching profession have to really amp up and be ahead of the game and really be good at what you do to make sure that you're giving your kids in your school a chance to be successful.
Yes, sir, man. Definitely evolved over time, man. For sure.
It has.
All right, we're passing it over to you, dog.
All right, Coach.
Yes,
You led
sir.
both football and athletic departments, sometimes at the same time, of course. What
Mhm.
difference do you see now between coaching players and now leading coaches, more or less?
It's I think sometimes it's a lot easier coaching players than it is. The kids are a lot easier than the adults at times.
The time.
But it's really the same philosophy. It's really the same amount of effort and input you put into both. And the good ones on the coach side of things, they pay attention because they want to be better. The same as kids. You put a product out there. You show them what an off season looks like. You show them how to discipline themselves and be organized and commit. Same thing on the coaching realm. And like I said, the kids sometimes they come around a lot quicker than they do when they become adults. I do miss coaching the kids because that was one thing that at least in my mind I was always good at is getting them. I could get the kids, and so. But I've got a great coaching staff here. Most of them, the majority of them, have been with me at one stop or another along my career, and many of them for several years they've been with me, and so they kind of know what to expect. And then what we've done in the past, kind of trickles down through what we have now as coaches. And of course, they put their own spin on some things, but that's also made us better. There's things I missed over those 25 years that some of these guys that were sitting in those coaches' offices, they figured out he must have missed that thing, and now they've got it in place and going. So, a lot of fun both ways. I know that for sure. I love what I do, and I love what I did, love what I do now.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
for sure. Coach, I'm an educator, and I always say if I had to work in a job with only adults, I don't think I
Hmm.
would survive this world.
Yeah, I agree, Booster.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
but go ahead, Coach. Sorry.
I said I agree with you. I'm not much good. I get a little antsy up here in the central office, so I spend a lot of time at practice and a lot of time at the games. So,
For sure.
hmm
So, Coach Pecos has always had that blue collar spirit. How do you
hmm
harness that energy across every sport and not just football?
I think that's the secret, and that's what we're trying to do. It's easier in football at times because you've got a bigger coaching staff, and it seems like it's not the case, but it's such a bigger scene. It's a bigger stage for everybody. It's putting on a football game's like putting on a concert. There's lots of moving parts besides just the game. But I do think that that same effort, that same spirit, that same philosophy about being hard nosed and committed to the work. I think once we get that built across all our sports, then that same trajectory will take place, as we go. Um, it's always about the kids. When they buy into what you're selling, they'll do because they want to win. And I tell them
Right.
all the time that you know, sometimes you hear critics say, what you do is not fun. Well, I will tell you what's fun. Winning's fun. That's
Yes, sir.
that's what's
Yeah,
fun. And so, and at the end of the day, kids are going to enjoy the camaraderie. They're going to enjoy the coaching. And if you win more than you lose, they're going to really enjoy that part of it too.
for
Heck
sure.
yeah.
I got a question, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you. I haven't met you personally, but I've heard a lot about you.
Yes,
But
sir.
back to my question, what is the biggest difference in your first season of coaching to now your 20th year or however many years you've been in that you've like, how can I say it? Like, what is something you focused on your first year of coaching and now that you focus on more of your 20-year coaching?
That's a great question, Adi, and I have discussed that many times with coaching staffs. Um, I think everybody, when they're young, they get into the profession, and you've played at the high school level and the college level, and you've seen some of it, and you think you know. And so that question, I would answer by saying, when I look back at my first year or 5 years versus my 25th or 26th year, I feel like I wish I could go back and teach those kids what I know now versus what I knew
No
then. I
doubt.
thought I knew it all, and now when I look back, I didn't know a dadgum thing of it. And you're working for a guy, and you start to learn, and that's kind of how the business works. You get underneath a coach or two or three. Some of them are good, some of them are not, but you learn from that, and then just all the stuff you pick up over the years, you become better. You learn how to deal with kids, and all kinds of kids. There's kids that are going to show up to practice every day and be a yes sir, no sir, and get after a guy. And there's guys that you're going to have to put the chains on the gate because they're trying to run out every chance they get. And you got to figure out a way to get them on the court or on the field as well, where they want to be a part of things. And so I think learning how to handle kids, as far as making it important to each and every one of them, is what I learned more over time. And I think towards the end, you know, it came a lot quicker, and we got those kids to buy in a lot easier, just because if I tell this to coaches all the time, the football field's 100 yards long and 53 and a third wide, every place in the world. There's only so much that can happen. And over a course of 25 years, you pretty much have seen everything that can happen in that little space. And that's the same with kids. You're going to go from Pecos to Fort Worth to Fort Stockton, and every one of them is going to be, you're going to see a kid that you go, I had one like that 12 years ago, so I kind of know what to do with this one. And so
Yes, sir.
ultimately, it's all about every kid leaving your program having enjoyed their 4 years, and when they get out, they talk about that. When they have kids, they're ready for them to get back into your program and to come watch those games too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great answer, Coach. Very humble, man. I respect that. And what you were talking about earlier, how much, now that you're in an athletics director role and you miss coaching, I was kind of having this vision of you just walking around the office, blowing your whistle just for old time's sake a little bit. But, on that same page, the title of this episode is Coming Home, the Mike Peters story. And
Mhm.
what's that feeling like walking those halls again as the athletic director?
Um, you said it just a second ago, Keith. It's humbling. I love it. It's when I started this profession, 26 years ago, that was probably the ultimate goal somewhere in there is to maybe get to come back as a head coach or as the head football coach or head coach of another sport. And then it just so worked out that I got to come back. It's a uh, when I'm from Pecos. My grandparents, my mother's side, they all went to school here. My dad coached here. He got here in the 70s and coached here for many, many years. So I'm 52 years old now. So I mean, I got 52 years of Pecos history behind me, and so it's a very humbling experience, and it's something that I take great pride and responsibility in, and trying to make sure that we excel and move ourselves to the next level. So whenever my tenure here is done, whether they get sick of me or it's retirement time, I want to leave here with Pecos being, a consistent championship competitor,
Yeah.
and across the board. When we get off the bus in Monahans, I want people to know that those are Pecos kids, and those are Pecos coaches, and that those guys over there, the furthest west school in the district, they do things the right way, and that's a big responsibility, and it takes a lot of work, but that's why I'm here. I want that recognition for our town and our community.
Love it. I can see why you bought a sweatshirt, Booster. I see why you got a Pecos sweatshirt now.
And go ahead, tell him, Coach. I'm an official like Pecos Eagle now, and I have
Yeah,
a ticket to the press box.
A key to the
yeah,
city or
Coach.
something in what he's saying
I
that
think
there?
so. Something
that's
like that.
whatever we need. I can get you up front parking, Brenda. That's not a problem.
I love that. You better
Yeah,
clip that, Keith.
Hey
yeah.
man, speaking of that, follow us on TikTok, PB Playbook Podcast _33 lead. All right, dog. Sorry to step on you, homie. Go ahead.
It's all right. Coach, you and I have talked about this several times about how West Texas football is a lot like the people that live out here,
Hmm.
complete toughness.
Hmm.
How do you balance that old school mindset with the modern approach of athletics today?
Good question, Mondo. I think that's when you can find that balance, then you've kind of got the recipe going right for success. You know, football's a tough game. Athletics is you got to be tough in everything you do. Right now we're in the fall and watching cross country and volleyball and swim compete. You know, bottom line is tough kids win.
Yeah.
And that's at every level. And it's difficult to get them to understand that the tougher you are, the better your odds become. And so
Yeah.
somewhere in the teaching is, you've got to have some measure of success, because that usually is the key that pushes everybody over the top. And I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was at Fort Stockton and we were just getting going, and the kids were great and they wanted to win, but we kept preaching about running to the ball and always being, the play's never over. We had a kid, a senior, who chased a kid down from Sweetwater. tackled him, but he broke his collarbone. I mean, the guy was fixing to score. He broke his collarbone. It was like the sixth game of the year, so he didn't get to play anymore. But the deal was the very next snap, they fumbled the ball. We got it back, went back down there and scored, and we ended up, getting the game where we had a chance to win in the fourth. And just an example like that, to be able to tell your kids on the bus that play, that extra effort, that toughness shown, because he could have stopped and they could have scored. And I mean, the game, they were going to beat us. I mean, we fought hard and came back, but we still lost in the end. But for kids and the kids on the team and the kids in the stands watching to see that happen, it
Yeah.
flips the mindset. So
See
that's what
somebody
you're
completely sell out like that. Yeah.
yes. And so you're always looking for that across all your sports. You're looking for that moment that you can tie to what you're teaching to show that all that diving on the floor in practice and volleyball and all the tackling and all the stuff that people want to shy away from now, that in the end, if you measure up talent for talent, but you're tougher, you're going to win more than you lose. So,
Amen.
mhm.
Amen. Pumping me up already. We're not even into the
Right?
second segment.
I'm
I
about to
got
put on my
goosebumps, coach.
hoodie.
I got goosebumps, coach.
Know it, man.
I'm gonna have to pause to go get my hoodie on, guys. So, Coach,
That would be
you
awesome.
are I got you, Coach. So you're a proud 1991 Pecos grad. When you look back, who were the people or the moments that helped shape you the most?
You know, there's a lot of stuff, and Pecos is a very tight-knit community. And so it wasn't always coaches or teachers. Sometimes it was people in the community because everybody here, I've always looked at Pecos as we're on the outside of the Permian Basin. We're far away from everything. So everybody has always had that mentality of we're all in this thing together. We live inside the same city limits, and so um, I think my high school football coach, his name was Dalen Whitehurst. He was a heck of a coach, a super tough guy, but he was very kind-hearted, and he wanted the best for kids. And I took plenty of scoldings and practices and games, but I also got plenty of hugs from that guy to tell me that, tell us that things were going to be okay. And um, I had an English teacher named John Briggs here, and he kind of opened my eyes up to education and things outside of West Texas. Of course, my parents were big mentors in that stuff too. My dad was a coach. My mom worked at school, and so they were. My mom was a proud Pecos Eagle. She bleeds purple and gold, and so a lot of that stuff. Bailey Wheelis was my ag teacher, and that guy taught us more life lessons than anybody probably at that age of my life. So just a ton of people. You know, People in the community, always being supportive and always pushing, trying to make kids do what's right. Because, the goal is always for people to come back and continue to show progress in your community. And so
Sure.
I think that the town, at least when I graduated, I felt like I left here with a lot of knowledge and a lot of tools in my toolbox to be successful down the road.
Nice. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Audie.
Okay, so Cody, you talked about getting kids to buy in and stuff like that to
Mhm.
your program. So what's the best way to get to a kid that's talented, not coachable, and a kid who's not talented, but coachable?
The
How
the
do you get
si-
them to buy
the fast answer, Audie, you sit the talented kid until he figures out that I'm not going to get on the field. And Coach Payanis is here as our head coach now. He's been with me about 9 years, somewhere in that area. And he had that mentality when I hired him, and I've always coached that way. And we have made a living with putting kids out there that probably shouldn't be there because they want to do things the right way. I will tell you, in my mind, the secret to all of it is you make that circle small, and people want to be in it. And so those guys that are talented, they get tired of the criticism. They get tired of the guy Dairy Queen going, "Hey, how come you're not playing?" Well, eventually they decide I'm either going to go away from it totally or I'm going to get back in. And 99% of the time, they're good kids too, and they'll get back in the cert. And then, of course, once they're coachable, their talent, it takes them to greater heights, and so
Yeah.
you can't coach the stuff that God gave us, and some of those guys. But when your talented players become your hardest workers and your most disciplined kids, it's easy for everybody else to follow them now because now they have somebody to, when the game gets tight, we can look to so and so because they're going to win it for us,
Yeah,
or
we can trust that guy.
stuff like that. But
Yeah.
but I think that there is zero tolerance for not being a team guy, or a team girl. I think that that's the biggest killer of team sports
Yep.
and here's the thing, I'm not going to discredit coaches because ultimately it's players that play the game, I hadn't thrown a single pass in 26 years of coaching, so it's you got to have those players to win, but you've got to have them within your system and doing the things your way because if there's any cracks in the foundation when the crunch time hits or big games hit or you got to have a 4th and 1 touchdown or a 4th and 1 stop, it won't work. And so you got to be able to trust everybody that you roll out there. And those talented players, more times than not, have never been, had that kind of responsibility put on them. They take it a lot easier once they figure out if I just do it the way that we need to do it, I'll be super successful. And so, it's really just holding them to the fire and the accountability. Every coach in the world is going to talk to you about accountability. And if you ever ask them the definition, they're not going to really have one. But I do because I've thought about it for long and hard for years. It's real simple. Do what you say you're going to do and be where you say you're going to be. And all the rest of it will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Love
like
it, man. Coach, Mondo and I we're diehard baseball fans, right? So we look into numbers for everything. We look into stats for everything. So when we were talking about having you on, he had sent me like your overall coaching spot stops and when I was
Hmm.
looking at, wins, losses and things like
Hmm.
that, the thing that stuck out to me, and I told Mondo this, was everywhere he's been you could tell they've had a year or so of like work, but
Hmm.
everywhere he's been and everywhere he's left it better than he found. So my question to you is, and I know you were touching on it here, but what are some of the key highlights to turning a program around or making it better that, like you have in the history
Right.
of your career?
Right. Right. I think that formula is pretty simple. You get in and the first thing you have to try to preach is championships and what championships mean and what championship players look like. And then within that, you have to build championship culture, right? And to build championship culture, you got to make players understand what championship habits look like. And then championship habits turn into championship culture, which turns into championships. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the
It all
the formula
correlates. Yeah.
that we use through it. And then the various ways of getting that, but really it's just the stick to itiveness, the you know, how does off season correlate to in season? How does the summertime work? What are the expectations, the accountability? Do what you say you're going to do. Um, I will tell you this, and many coaches disagree with me because, sometimes it looks like you may lose kids because it's not a lot of fun. But I have never, in 17 years as a head coach, we never took a day off. So we practiced or we ran or we lifted every day. We never got to the field house one day in February off season and go, hey, you guys go outside and throw the ball around. I always, not that I didn't think about doing that, not that I didn't think that that might be a good point in time to do it. I always thought, though, that the first time that we ever did it, that the kids would look at me and go, that's not what you said we were going to do 2 or 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
ago.
And
You
kids
said we
know,
were going to
man.
work. And I was always so scared that one of them in the room was going to, it would start the downhill because they go, well, we got to today and it wasn't what we said. And so we've just had to plan in every single day and gone at it. And like I said, teaching those championship habits, little things like what your locker room looks like. It's years ago we were in a district with South Lake Carroll, and that had never crossed my mind that you know how things all fit together. And we walked into their visiting locker room, which I probably was a JV locker room during the week. And I mean, you could have eaten off the floor. And those things in my head started to click that little things like how you hang your clothes in your locker, those correlate to what, you know, on the court wins, on the field wins. They're all the same thing. I've never walked into a state championship team that had a messy field house. It just doesn't work like that, you
Yeah.
know? And so teaching little things like that, being in class on time, you know, the eligibility thing shouldn't be an issue because if you're taking care of your championship habits, your work's going to be turned in and ready to go. And so, how you pack your bag to travel, I mean, all that little stuff, turns into, and then you sell kids over time. We got better at it in year two, and look, we won more games. We got better at it in year three. Look, we almost won a district championship. Year four, we were real good at it. We were district champions. Things like that. You preach that back to kids, and they understand it. Then they see what this leads to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that philosophy carries over at work,
how you do
life,
anything is
home,
how you do
everything.
everything, man.
Really,
Yeah.
truly.
Exactly. And that statement, the lady I worked for at Saginaw, she was our campus principal, Dr. Cynthia Weber. She said that to me early on when I got there, and trying to build a campus culture and a athletic culture. I had never heard that phrase, and she said, "How you do anything's how you do everything," and so we kind of took that under our wing, and even in our new field house here, it's graphic on one of our walls.
Love that.
So
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Nice.
Love that. Go ahead, Mondo.
All right, Coach.
yes, sir.
You and I have known each other since probably about 1994 when you surprised me when I'm getting to third base and you're speaking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, uh, describe your path of your first stop to get you here and to
Mhm.
where you're at now, and what's your message to younger coaches who are trying to climb the ladder in Texas athletics?
You know, um, I think I started out as a seventh grade coach. I coached all the sports, and I did that for 4 years. And ended up in the Central Texas area as a junior high coach, and then from there, after my fourth year, I started became an assistant baseball coach. Uh, I was a varsity defensive coach, and then every year after that, kind of, I took a step forward. I think that a couple things for young coaches is, you need to learn how to do the work, because there's so much more to coaching than running out on the court, for a Tuesday or Friday game, or the field for Tuesday, Friday baseball, or running through the tunnel on Friday night. Everybody thinks it's about getting a team shirt, a logoed shirt, and all the stuff going on, but the how you operate film, how you do laundry, all those things are important for young coaches to know, because at some point you're going to get to a spot that's going to be required of you, and if you don't have those basic skills, it's hard to get in the room with the big guys who are working on Friday night stuff. And so I think learning how to do the work. I really think starting in middle school helped me tremendously, because I think I learned how to coach kids, but I think the biggest take from middle school was how to deal with parents. Because you've got kids that are 13, 14, maybe turning 15, and so they're getting to be semi-adults, but mom and dad, they're still babies to them. And so how you handle situations with that, I think I learned a ton of how to communicate with parents, how to handle negative situations. Uh, the playing time question, which always comes up, I was able to hone some skills in dealing with people and being able to foreshadow what was coming down the road by, you know, having tons of kids with me. I was at a place that uh, I coached basketball one of my first years there, and so the athletic director told me, "You're going to be the junior high basketball coach." I said, "That's fine." I said, seventh grade or eighth grade. He goes, no, the junior high basketball coach. So A, B, 7, 8. I had a bus load like 5 across the rows and by myself. And so you learn a lot about how to do things and how to keep kids safe, make sure parents are informed, all those little things, you learn in those situations where you don't have a safety net of a head coach and 15 other assistants with you. It's just you and usually another, even for football, you and one other coach, and you got the A team playing and the B team eating nachos behind you sitting on the fence. You got to make sure. So there's a lot to learn with that. And then as I started to go, I was always on the defensive side of the ball, and really, my break and my, getting to be a coordinator and a head coach, I got hired by a guy named Mike Levy from Andrews. His son Jeff is now the head coach at Mississippi State.
I got ran over by Jeff Levy back in the day.
Yeah. Well, Coach Levy moved me to the offensive line. And I'd spent probably 7 or 8, 9 years coaching as a middle school and an assistant. And I went from a varsity offensive line coach to an offensive coordinator to a head football coach in about 3 years after that. And so, um, all the stuff that I learned, as a junior high coach and as a defensive guy, moving to the offensive side really helped me. So that's another piece of advice I'd like to give to those young guys is don't think that I played corner in high school, so I'm going to coach corners. Learn how to coach all those positions. And, jobs come open all the time, and somebody may need somebody to coach defensive tackles. And if all you've ever coached is running backs, I'm not hiring you. I'm going to hire somebody who knows how to coach those positions. So learn how to do all that stuff. I'm going through that process with my son right now. He's a secondary coach, but we spend all our time on the phone talking about offensive line play and front seven of the defense, so he can put two and two together with all that. And I
Yeah.
think that part, learning all that, is important. And then finally, if chasing head coaching jobs or wanting to be a coordinator or whatever the case may be is what you want as a young coach, you want to be the head volleyball coach, there are some sacrifices you have to make. It doesn't always fall right in your lap. Most important in this profession is you're probably going to get real comfortable with the U-Haul guy, and uh, learning how to pack your stuff and get down the road to another job and leave people that you've come to love and go start over somewhere else. Because to make those, to make that escalate up the ladder, it's not always or very rarely is it going to happen right there where you start. Very few guys get to start and finish, in the same spot and climb the whole time that they're doing that. So I do think that looking around and getting yourself under good head coaches, you know, you want to be a head coach and you live in, let's just say you live in Pecos and you're working for Coach Payanis and you've moved up the ladder. Well, now you want to go somewhere else. You go find somebody that's a good head football coach. Their win-loss record doesn't matter. Good football coaches, good volleyball, good coaches are good coaches. And so you find somebody to learn from. So when it is your time, you're properly equipped to be able to handle that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Brenda, round us out on this segment here.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Coach, fun fact, I actually coached junior high softball for 11 years in Florida, cheer for 5, and volleyball for 2. And I was the assistant athletic director. I learned a lot in junior high.
Yes.
Man. But that's the part I miss the most about that part of my career. But I have a fun one for you, Coach. If you were not coaching or administrator, what would you be doing?
I've been asked that question, and I never really wanted to do anything else but this. So from the time I was a little kid, this is all I could think about doing. And this is funny. But the only other thing that ever crossed my mind that I thought would be a great, interesting job would be like a forest ranger. You know, those guys that sit in the tower way out in the middle of
Got your
nowhere.
Yep.
binoculars and everything.
Yes, yes. I think if
And the
I wasn't gonna,
uniform.
the
Yeah.
uniform is super cool. And so, you know, I thought that outside of coaching, that's the only thing. You know, I tell kids all the time, they say, well, you know, coach, I want to be the quarterback. And I tell them, well, I wanted to play center field for the Boston Red Sox, man, but it just doesn't work out that
Yeah,
way. So,
for sure.
but no, I really, that's, you know, from the time I could remember, this is all I ever wanted to do. And I'm sure my dad, watching him, you know, when he got out of coaching and went to be an administrator, it broke my heart. I couldn't see why in the world anybody in the world would want to leave. You know, he'd bring the bus home the day before the game, and I was like, "That's we got a bus in front of our house over here on
Yeah.
Alamo Street. You know, that's the coolest thing in the world." And so this is all I've really ever wanted to do.
He sounds a lot like Joby
Was
Flores.
thinking the exact same thing,
Yeah,
man.
Coach, there's a story, Joe coached for a good while there, and then he went into the insurance business. Uh, Joe tells a story that when he told his dad that he was going to go into insurance and leave coaching behind,
Mhm.
Joby didn't speak to him for like 3 months
Yeah.
or
Was
something like that.
Heartbroken. Yeah.
He
Yes.
was really heartbroken.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when he came home and told us he was gonna, you know, do that, I thought he'd lost his mind. I couldn't figure out why anybody would ever do that, but it worked out for him. He ended up being a superintendent, and so it was a good thing for all of us. But now being in the business, I see where you get to that point that there's got to be another step somewhere in there, you know.
All right, what a great first segment with Coach Peters, man. Let's give him some snaps on that. He was first and 10 with us for a little bit. And but Coach, we're gonna shift gears and time for our news and notes segment. Can you give us the inside scoop on Pecos athletics and looking across the board and what's the vibe in Pecos?
You know, we've got a lot of progress going on. You know, we came in and I got here last January. Coach Payanis got here in February, and so we've really got some you know, making some really good headway. Football wise, you know, kids are competing at a really good level. You know, won several games and won a big game, you know, a couple weeks ago, beating the Monahans Lobos. So that's always a big deal around Reeves County, you know. So, but district starting up, we were open this week. We start district versus Lakeview next week. So that'll be the really telltale where we can match up with our district opponents. On the volleyball side, you know, I think that our girls have had some struggles in the win-loss department, but I can see the progress from day one to where we are currently in this season, and that's something that's a really that's a lot of hopefulness with that. Our freshmen and our JV volleyball teams have played really well all year, and so I think that as we get into off season and continue to build there, I think we're in great shape. Cross country teams are doing well. Boys team won the district championship, so they'll be at
Oh,
in
nice.
Lubbock on Tuesday,
Congratulations.
and so they're doing well there. And of course, you know, we have tennis got in, was a area qualifier. Team tennis in the fall was an area qualifier. Swim and golf are both participating right now. You know, their seasons won't start till a little later, but they're playing their fall schedules, and you know, we got great numbers out, and the kids are really you know, excited about a chance to be, you know, competing for those playoff positions, and then ultimately trying to be district champions as you go through it. You know, also with our athletic stuff, you know, you know, I can't say anything without giving some very great props and thank yous to our community and our school board and our superintendent. You know, our facilities here are undergoing a big time change, and so. We're going to go from being one of the oldest facilities around to a top-notch, high-tech in every aspect, academics, athletics, you know, our science CTE and our fine arts, our new ag facilities, new field house, all those things are going on, and that's a credit to those people, you know, having a vision, with the board and the superintendent, Mr. Jaco, and then having our community support that and pass bonds and be willing to make those changes. It's hard to do that in little towns, especially West Texas. There's lots of history in all those buildings, and people
Yeah.
don't like to see them go. But our community has made that decision that we want to be, top notch and first rate in everything we do. And so, they've done a great job of rebuilding PBT ISD in general.
That's amazing, man. Sounds like it's getting popping over there in Pecos, huh, guys? And speaking of popping in now is our special guest of the week, former Midland Legacy Rebel, current Hardin Simmons baseball player, 2-year letterman there at Hardin Simmons, and currently rehabbing. My guy got hurt over the summer, had a little Tommy John, but we're up and coming. You guys welcome everybody. Jace Martinez. Jace, welcome to the Permian Basin Playbook.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir,
Hey,
man. I've
Jace.
I've watched this guy since he was probably 7, 8 years old, and to see him make it into college has been something special. Seeing him make his first relief appearance, his first start, and anytime you hear of some Tommy John, and I've been through it as well too. It's no fun, but Jace, now that you're a 2-year letterman at Hardin Simmons, and I know that you got a rehab going on right now, but what's been like the biggest adjustment for you from high school to collegiate baseball?
Well, really, honestly, the competition level, really, like that's pretty much all it is. High school ball, you got teams that are better than others, but then you also got teams that you could really dominate when, especially when you're a pitcher on the mound. College, otherwise, you got guys no matter what the division level is, you got guys that can hit the ball about anywhere, and
Yeah,
it's kind of rough adjusting from you being a top dog in high school to trying to get by in college, and
yeah,
I feel like that's one of the biggest deals in competing at the college level.
yeah. Can't leave it in the middle anymore, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We're glad to have you on, man. This is the
Jake,
dog. I'm sorry about it. This is the dog. The dog is actually the Monahans News. He's like the low-key mayor of Monahans. This is the athletic director, Mike Peters. This is
Okay.
Busta. She's a co-host, and this is Audie. He's a co-host with us tonight too. Audie's also one of our instructors at K-Ball Baseball and Softball Academy. So
Okay.
go ahead, dog.
And Audie is probably another person that you probably be cussing your head if he officiated or if he umpired one of your
Yeah,
ball
yeah. He's also a Tasso umpire. Yeah,
Okay.
he's got a good zone.
Anyway, Jace, my name is Armando Flores. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a baseball fan from birth, born in a family that's all we did. Um, my question for you is, what's been the hardest part of being on the sidelines and watching your team compete?
Well, really, that's a good question because before when I was rehabbing, or whenever I first got injured, um, it really didn't hit me immediately, that I wouldn't be playing, this year. Of course, I knew, but after the surgery and everything, it was just like, it's just a surgery, it is what it is, come back, whatever. Well, first practice comes, and it's just I'm not suited up, I'm just out there, helping the team. It's not really now it's hitting me, that I'm not out there working with the team to, get better ultimately as a team, That's been the
Yeah,
biggest thing. It's just not being able to put in the work with the other guys.
yeah. It's tough, man. You're still a part of
Good
him, though,
stuff.
buddy.
Of
Yeah.
Yes,
course, of
sir.
course.
Jace, so I too come from a baseball family. You came from a baseball family. How has that support system helped you stay grounded through this challenge?
Yeah, just always being a part of a baseball family, it's really just, having the support that, no matter what, goes on, I know that my family's all, I mean, they've already told me, from this season, I mean, even though you're not playing, they're still going to come and support, the team and everything like that, because that's just who they are. They like to see,
Yeah.
they're just a baseball family, no matter who, if I'm playing or not, or, there was multiple games, last year where I told them, I was like, I don't even know if I'm in the rotation this like weekend, but I was like, you don't have to come because I really can't tell you, what it looks like if I'm pitching or not. And
Yeah.
every time I told them that, it was just like, it doesn't matter, we'll still be there, we're gonna come out and support no matter if you play or not. And that's what was really big, especially for my family. And then, that's just the big deal about that, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Being
little
there.
fact,
Yeah.
his sister is a collegiate softball player in Oklahoma, and these two might not even be the best athletes because they got a little brother named Kason that is
Yeah.
a beast. He might be the best one.
Yes.
So, I mean, they
No. Yeah.
literally are an amazing athletic family.
Definitely. I think I could say the exact same thing too, because honestly, I think that he's grown up and seen I mean, of course he's the youngest, right? So he's grown up and he's seen me play, he's seen my sister play. So he's getting a lot of information just by so young, being around us and being around the ballparks. And I could really say that he's gonna be a top uh a top player whenever
Yeah,
he gets into high school.
he's a dude,
Hey, I
man.
grew up at the ballparks. That didn't help me like that.
No?
Not
But
no.
you
That's that whole chicken with some chicken salad thing, Booster, you
Yeah.
know?
I know.
but you
Hey, when
hit
I say
something
baseball
there.
family, I'm like, my vacations were the Rangers and then the
Yeah.
Astros. I used to watch across the field at kids at Wet and Wild. I didn't know what that was like because we literally baseballed everything in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Audie, you got something for Jace?
Yeah, I got something. What's up, Jace? My name's Adi.
How are you?
You mentioned earlier about just getting on the mound and being able to dominate certain teams. But now that you're at the collegiate level, what is your approach and what is your go-to pitch when you're 3-2 count? You need this out, third out. What is your go-to pitch?
So it used to be my curveball actually. My curveball back in high school was one of my better pitches. When I got to college, I figured out that, that's all that people were hitting. They were always on that. So I really had to I'll go back a little bit. So senior year, junior year of high school actually, I was doing a little pitching clinic with somebody out of the Braves organization, and he actually helped me develop a better changeup. And so now I throw like a split change, a Vulcan change is what you would call it. And that's one of my better pitches now to get guys out at the collegiate level because it really just dives into the zone or out of the
Yeah,
zone, and
Yeah, no
it's
doubt.
really helpful.
it is like that, dog. It is like
The
that.
Yeah.
Vulcan
What's
pitch.
what's crazy is we were literally having the same conversation last night with my dad and Mondo. Because when you're in high school, if you throw 89, 90 or something, that's super fast. And then if you
Yeah.
have a good hammer, you can get through innings.
Yeah.
But in collegiate baseball, you got to learn some off speed. You got to learn to make it dance a little bit more. And I'm curious about, you got the injury and then we got the
Mhm.
surgery and now you're going through your rehab process. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on in your mind as far as getting back?
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, first off, it was just getting a range of motion back. First off, it was really, I mean, I was in a brace for 2 weeks, but it felt like forever because I mean, being in that position at 90 for 2 weeks, it was a struggle.
Yeah,
And after that, after I got out of the brace and I was just getting a range of motion, trying to get it straight as I can. Which now I'm luckily, pretty straight as where I'm at. Now it's just building a little bit of the muscle. Right now, I guess my biggest flaw in that would be my tricep muscle. Tricep
okay.
muscle's very weak right now. Elbow's feeling good. But every once in a while, my tricep muscle feels very tight. And that's where I'm right now. I'm just trying to build that muscle. We've gotten into a little bit heavier weights. So now I'm about 20, 25 pounds of lifting weights. So that's good. And other than that, once I'm cleared, my 3 month appointment would be this Wednesday. So at 3 months, you're technically cleared to start your throwing process, your throwing program. Um, but other than that, really the mindset that I should have going through this rehab process is just getting stronger in my legs. Really, that's my main deal. Get more power on my legs, get more stronger in my legs, and then after that, once building muscle stuff like that, then I can come back and really you know potentially throw harder than I was before. And, honestly, I mean, that's a plus, right? You hear it all the time, Tommy John surgeries, you can come back, throwing harder than you were before. But honestly, I mean, yes, that's all good and everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, I want to come back, and throw a baseball without it hurting,
Yeah.
ultimately. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if I'm at the same speed as I was before, it is what it is. I just want to be able to throw and it not hurt. That's all it is.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
you, dog. I feel you, man.
Jace, when you get back, what's the one part of your game that you're most excited to show off again?
Really just to get out on the mound and really just to really just be out there with the guys. Really, I mean, it sucks not being out there. We just scrimmaged Ranger Community College, and as a team, we looked really good. We'd had some flaws here and there, but other than that, I mean, this year's team looks a lot better than last year's team, and that's exciting. For me, I mean, for the future ahead, next year, I mean, I see what we have potential of this year and what it could lead to the next year and the year after that. But getting out there and just a big thing would be just whenever I'm healthy and I can when my parents can finally get back out there and actually be there to witness me throw again.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean I do a lot of things for my parents because they sacrifice a lot for me. So honestly, if I can get back out there and they're happy and excited for me to get out there, I mean I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah.
Nice. So I have a fun one for you. If you could train or hit BP with any MLB player, who would you choose and why?
Man,
If it's a Yankee, the dog's gonna love you forever.
Hey, yes, you'll be my
man.
favorite player of all time.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, before I got to college, I was always middle infield. I mean, I played a little bit of everything. So a big player for me. I mean, well, currently right now, I mean, Corey Seager, he's a big infield guy. He's pretty good there. So if I could train, do middle infield stuff or anything, Corey Seager, Derek Jeter. I mean, he's a
Yes,
The
big
Jeep,
time
yes,
baby.
player.
The Jeep.
Big
you are
time.
now my favorite player,
Yeah.
Jace.
But other than I mean the pitching side, I mean really I mean DeGrom, I mean when he's really healthy, I mean he's got some really good stuff, really
Yeah.
nasty. So I mean I mean just that, I mean pitching side, I mean I'd say DeGrom, I mean he's a really good pitcher when he's healthy and he's really focused in, he's really good.
Yeah, for sure. Biomechanically, he's pretty nasty
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
All right, Dottie, round this out for us, man.
When you're on the mound and game's on the line, what is going through your mind? Like, I know everybody says you got to be a dog up there and you got to feel like you're unstoppable, but what is going through your mind other than let's get this guy?
Yeah, okay, so I'll kind of little backstory to that. I so past year I had to I got thrown into a tough situation against a crosstown team, McMurray here in Abilene. And we're at their field, we it's I think it's yeah, tie game, bottom of the ninth, and I come in with no outs, bases loaded. Tough situation as it is, I mean how many guys can go in there and really try to, do, I mean, you just gotta, if you walk the guy, I mean, you lose. I mean, it's a tough
Yeah,
situation as it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that bit right there, that was a tough mindset and tough, spot that I was put in. But honestly, I just had to get in there and really, I mean, the only thing I could really try to do is just strike the guy out, strike it. I mean, just keep going, strike them all out, really. Because I
Be
mean,
a dog.
yeah, really, because I mean, you get up there and you think about, if I walk this guy, I'd give up a hit here. It's already over, You already, I mean, your situation's already tough enough as it is. So I mean, it was just about, getting up there and really just not worrying about it too much. Just get up there and pitch, At the end of the day, and I got up there and I actually struck out all three guys. I mean, it's a tough situation as it was.
yeah,
What I'm talking about.
Um, we ended up sadly losing that game, because we went out and we got out of that inning, and then I said, you know what, coach, I want to go back out there, and if it happens that we lose, coach, I want it to be on me. I want to
yeah,
be the guy that I'm in control of this game, and I want to be the reason that, if we do lose, it's on me. It is what it is. I did end up going back out there. I think I did walk the leadoff batter, which is really crucial in college,
Yeah,
sports. There's a lot of
70% of the
talk. Yep.
time.
Yeah, you walk the leadoff guy, they have a high chance of scoring. And so it is what it is. I walked the first guy, and after that, I think I got pulled on that one. But other than that, I mean, that game right there was a big, just a mental state of like, what can I do to get out of this with not losing the game? And that was
Yeah,
pretty big, honestly.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
big time.
I love that, man. I like it that no matter what, you're willing to roll the dice on yourself, and
Yeah,
at that point of the game, it's just like there's no even reason to be scared of anything because it's,
yeah, for
it's
sure.
just at a crazy moment. So
Yeah.
Coach Peters is a heck of a baseball guy too.
Yeah.
I see him shaking his head over there. What you got for us, Coach?
No, I just want to, wish you best of luck in your rehab, Jace. Yeah, you know, take care of what you got to take care of, and then, get yourself back out there ready to go, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're gonna be great, man.
Thank you, young man.
It's
Yes, sir.
it's gonna, and I know that you're going through it. Like, it sucks that you're not playing. And I remember going through it my second year in college. But in retrospect, when you look back at this year, sitting and watching from the bench or the bullpen, you are going to grow mentally so much because you're going to see it from a different perspective. And I promise you, you're going to come back and you're going to have a better mentality, and you'll be better physically, and you'll be great, man. I know you will.
Yeah, and actually, that's exactly what my coach said. He actually, whenever I gave him a call about I had this get surgery on my elbow, I texted him originally, and I was like, hey, I was like, can I give you a call? And immediately he went to I mean, this guy's quitting.
Are you
They go to,
leaving? What school you
yeah,
going to?
yeah. He's like,
It
what's
better
going
not be
on?
somebody in the ASC.
I know, and so I told him, I said, no, I said, I think I just have to have surgery. And he was like, basically all he said was that, well, I mean, I'm sorry that happened, but he said, now you get to see it as like our point of view. I mean, it's just a different, you're not on the field, you're going to be with us.
Mhm.
And really the big thing that I'm trying to accomplish this year as a good teammate is, how can I help these younger guys, and really build them to help us in our own program? How can if I can give tips here on the mound, that are going to help us win ultimately, that's going to be big for us.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, Jace, man, it's good talking to you, man. It's been a while. We trade some texts back and forth here and there, but man, it's good to see you again. Good to chop it up with you a little bit. And again, thanks for joining us today. And we're wishing you a smooth recovery and a huge season ahead, man. And we love you. And thanks for representing West Texas so well. And good luck in the future.
Of course. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir,
Good
man.
luck
Thank
Have
to
a
you,
good night.
you.
Jace.
Thank
Hey,
y'all. Good
Jason.
night.
Great kid, man.
He's
Yeah,
so
for
cool, man.
Yeah,
I
reals.
love
awesome
that kid.
kid.
Yeah, I've known him since he was 8. I did, had some lessons with him here and there. His dad, he's got great parents. I'm telling you, his sister was a stud at Legacy too, and the little brother is a G for sure.
What grade is
So
his brother?
Kaysen, he's like 14, 13 or 14, but
Probably about to be freshman.
he's big, dude. Like
You
he's
know
a
what they
guy.
say, though? You know what they say? You always got to watch out for the little brother.
You do. You do. For my family, my sister wasn't athletic, so shout out to Man Dance. But with that being said, we do have a couple of more news and notes. I do want to shout out to the Permian Basin and West Texas. We just got through with the barbecue bash last night. It was like so humbling, man. It was just like uh heartwarming to see everybody show up and represent, especially the oil and gas industry. So it was huge for us. I do appreciate everybody, and I'm a little tired today, but I wanted to see you guys. I wanted to hang out, especially with Coach Peters. Coach, so we do a pick'ems every weekend, which you're going to join. You're going to join
He's
us.
familiar.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. We got a viral pick over in West Texas. But so when we do these picks, the reason we're so competitive is because you get a chain or you win a hat, and things like that. And we had to have you on, and I really wanted you to be on the Pick'ems because I'm tired of winning every week. I'm just, it's just getting old, Coach. Like this is 2 weeks in a row. The W bucket is just
Where's that
overflowing.
mute button?
It's just Boosta. I feel like I'm playing the JV over here. It's just not even any fun anymore. So
All I know, I need to remind you, this is my first podcast with the Pick'ems this year. So, hey,
this is
It sounds
the
like you're already
Pick'em
admitting
show.
defeat,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, Mondo sounds scared.
Hey,
never
He
do.
Audie.
does sound scared.
Never
Yeah,
do.
can you call the animal rescue place and get dog a puppy or something? Because it sounds like he's scared.
I got
All
a little
right,
weenie dog around here.
it's time for the fan favorite, our weekly pick'em. Special thanks to everybody who follows us on our social media. Just a little note, just last week on our TikTok, we have close to 30,000 views. So thank you, West Texas. Thank you, Permian Basin, for hanging out. We're proud to bring this to you. We like to cause a little drama, but we love it, man. We love you guys. So, all right, we got some heavy matchups to break down. Y'all ready to get into it?
Why not?
All right, our first set. Kermit is 1-5. They're headed over to meet the Golden Tours of Lamesa, who's 3-4. Busta, I'll give you first bid on this one.
I'm gonna go with Lamisa, just purely based on the record and the skill set.
Yeah. Audie Frost, what you think?
I actually heard a lot about Kermit versus Crane, and I have a buddy who coaches a Crane. Y'all had him on here last week, but so I don't think Crane's gonna do the job. I'm gonna take Lamisa.
Lamesa. All right. Dog, who you taking?
I know a lot of coaches up there in Kermit, some good people, and know they're trying to do things right, trying to right that ship up there. But I'm going to take the Golden Tours in this one.
Yeah. Coach Peters, who you got in this one?
I like Mondo said, there's some good guys, Coach Fellows, Coach Owen, those guys up there, really good guys, and I think they're getting closer to where they need to be. So I'm taking Kermit.
All right. Shout out to the Yellow Jackets. Yeah, I think Lamesa's trending up and a little bit more than Kermit is. I think they're looking for their fourth win of the year, and I think they're gonna find it this weekend. Give me the Tours. All right, number two. I think this is Mondo's maybe second or third favorite team in game two. Grand Falls, the Cowboys are 6-1. They're headed over to Balmorhea. Dog, give us your take on this one.
Another Ward County versus Reeves County matchup right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Um, Grand Falls, first game of the season got blown out by Water Valley, which is one of the top six-man schools
Yeah.
in the state. But since that time, they found their niche. JB Burns, Gino Ortiz, uh, uh, ground game and speed wise is there. And as most of y'all that don't know about six man, if you got speed, it kills in a six man field. Um, I spoke with their coach last week at our pick'em show. The team had a team night there. Jermaine Mata, who is also like Coach Peters and myself, a graduate of the Angelo State University
Shout out to the Rams.
as well. And he is physics, applied physics major from Angelo State, which tells me that he's a whole lot smarter
Yeah,
than I am.
for sure.
And so I think we're going to go down there to hostile territory in Balmorhea and come out with the victory. Whoever wins this game is probably going to win the district championship in that
Right.
district.
Yeah. Possibly game of the week. Coach Peters, what you think on this one?
Well, I'm gonna, stay on Mondo's note there. The Ward County, Reeves County matchup, and right now the old Reeves counties are 1-0 in that, so I'm gonna take Balmorhea here.
Bringing heat tonight. Bringing heat. Coach talks about Balmorhea. They have a running back, I think, by the name of Jason Lozano, and he's been on fire of late. A couple of weeks ago, he had 4 TDs in one game. However, the Cowboys have been lighting up the scoreboard as of late. I'm rolling with Grand
JB
Falls.
Burns,
I'm
JB,
rolling with him.
JB Burns had 5 touchdowns, not this last week, but the week before. So
Yeah. Give me the
keep him at
Cowboys, Booster. Who you taking?
healthy.
Hey, I can't believe I'm agreeing with the dog, but
Hey,
my notes that I wrote down is for Grand Falls, they've had some high scoring games
Yeah.
all season, and I'm going with the Grand Falls Cowboys.
Audie Frost, who you taking?
I haven't heard much about either other than Grand Falls has some speed, so I'm gonna take some Grand Falls.
All right. Another one for the Cowboys. All right, we're heading over to Odessa. Crane is 4-3. This is district title implications right here
Hmm.
against Compass, who's 6-1. Shout out to Coach Birdwell. We had him on in episode 27. Really enjoyed having him on. He's a good guy, man. And last week he said it. Compass is well coached and they're dangerous. And definitely a district title. I don't know, guys. I'm leaning to Compass. I'm sorry, Coach Birdwell. Sorry, Bird, but I'm leaning Compass. Booster, who you taking on this one?
You know, I've said it a million times on here. I am a competitor. Sorry, Coach Birdwell, but I'm going with Compass.
Audie, are you picking against your guy?
I'm gonna disagree with y'all. Last time they faced them, they had a couple guys out, so I think this time they get the revenge.
Is that our
That's a
first
heart
heart
pick.
pick? That's a
Heart
heart
pick.
pick, right?
Heart pick.
I'm
Coach
taking
Peters?
Crane.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. What'd you say, Audie?
I'm taking Crane.
Got Crane. Okay. Coach Peters, make sense of this for us.
I district championship game, second time they played, hard to beat somebody twice. I'm
Yeah.
taking Crane as well.
All right.
Third.
Dog?
just because of that same comment there, thanks for reminding me, Coach Peters, Coach Owens. You used to always tell me the same thing. It's hard to be to beat a team twice. So I'm also going to join in the Crane bandwagon right there.
All
Thought
right.
you were a leader, dog.
Yeah.
Coach has
know.
got him fired up tonight, man. He's ready
Coach got me fired up,
he's
man.
ready
I'm ready
to
to
run down on
I'm
kickoff.
ready to run
Booster.
through a wall right
That's
now.
it. Coach has got him fired up.
What do you got on him?
I
What
think
do you
he's
got
turning
on him?
purple. I think the dog is turning purple.
Hey, I'll let you borrow my hoodie, dog.
All right,
That's
game
good.
4. We're headed down the road on 18. Sterling City visits Wink. Sterling City's 1-6 and Wink is 5-2. Dog, I'll start with you.
Wink all the way in this one.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Peters?
Yes, sir. Wink.
I got to catch up with my guy Caton Noyola over there in Wink this past weekend. Love that kid, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to him. I think Wink is rolling. Too much firepower in the orange and black for those boys. You can put Wink on me. Stamp it. Boosta.
I'm right there with you. I think those Wildcats gonna win this week.
Audie?
And take Wink as well.
Yeah. I don't think Sterling City's going to get it done.
Yeah, we want to, at Wink, we got to stay true. Talk about the heart pick. That's another Pecos grad over there coaching those boys. So,
Oh, yeah.
Coach Gibson.
I guess
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guy over there,
coach's heart
man.
pick right there.
Yeah,
Good
that's
guy.
right.
Yeah. I like what they do over there. All right. We're headed to Pecos. All right. The Chiefs of Lakeview are 5-2, visiting Coach Peters' Eagles and Coach Tony
Mhm.
P, man. Shout out to Tony P. Pecos is 3-4, looking to get back to 500. Boosta, I'll give you first take.
I knew you were gonna start with me. Hey, I didn't wear my Pecos
You're
hoodie
very
around town this
controversial.
morning. I am. I don't know why, but all my life. Coach, I wore this all day. Wore it out here in Monahans to have lunch, and it wasn't taken very well. Was approached at the barbecue bash last night about my picks by people I didn't even know. I'm sticking with my Pecos Eagles.
There we go.
Audie, who you got?
I think this is my heart pick, and I'm gonna take Pecos.
All right. Hashtag heart pick.
That's your
Dog,
second heart pick.
No man, no man.
who you got in this one?
Well, Now you come down and ask me. Uh, San Angelo Lakeview is off to the bet was off. I have no idea what's their
They're
season
five and
record
two,
again?
5-2.
7-2. They started off the season on uh for the best. Let me rephrase it. Stop. Roll the tape back. Let's do it again. Um, they were off to their best starts in 1983. But what I saw in Pecos a few weeks back, I like what they're doing. I love the ground game. It
Yeah.
was awesome. That mindset of we're going to run right here and we're going to keep doing it until you stop it. Uh, Won me over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I like Mike. Like I've always said, I like Mike. So
You
I
know,
got the
like
Pecos
I
Eagle in
want to
this one
be
too.
like Mike.
like you
I
said,
want to be like.
I think it's going to be a ground game. Lakeview seems to want to pound the rock too. They've got a guy by the name of Isaiah Rios that he likes to run the ball and he does it pretty well. But don't sleep on Pecos. Javian Martinez, Amari Griffin, we saw them go off against Monhans a couple of weeks ago, and then them boys can move the chains. Give me Tony P's squad, man. I'm taking Pecos. Coach Peters, round us out on this game. I know you got a bunch to say on those Pecos Eagles.
Yeah, it's a big district game. It's Coach Guevara over at Lakeview, he's done a great job. He's a good football coach and got them playing really well. And Coach Payanis here. I mean, I know what they'll put into it and be ready to go. Of course I'm going to go with Pecos, but it's going to be a dogfight either way. And
Yeah.
this is one of those things too that we always talk, and Coach Bionis will talk about the same: is get yourself in the fourth quarter with a chance. And if we can do that here, we're gonna have I'm gonna pick us every time. So I'm taking Pecos.
All right. We're all picking Pecos this week, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That
I think
usually
most y'all are being followers because
I am
Coach is
not.
here,
I
but
really do. And
There
I
you go,
know,
Brenda.
it's
I've
because we're
actually
outnumbered.
For
Whatever.
the record, y'all, I have worked over for there for close to 26 years. I am an adopted son of
his
Pecos.
pictures on
The-
Well,
Podie's
let's go back to
barbecue.
some of our past episodes and see if you've picked Pecos. Where's your Pecos hoodie,
Speaking of
dog?
that,
I
follow us on
hadn't. This is
Spotify
my
at the
first
Permian
time to
Basin
pick all
Playbook.
year, Brenda. This is my first time to pick all year, Brenda.
Yeah, we're welcoming him back. It took a little hiatus, but
I was
all
on
right.
assignment.
We're headed over to Greenwood. Got to see those guys last week up close and personal, and they are a talented group of young men. Fort Stockton's 5-3. Don't sleep on Fort Stockton. They're headed over to Greenwood. Greenwood's 7-0. Audie, I'll give you first take on this one.
Greenwood got a good squad. I'm gonna take Greenwood.
Yeah, for sure. Busta, what you think?
Hey, I have to tell you on our foundation thread, Mondo, you had the best text of the week. Lincoln went continental on that play. I-
Lincoln likes to go continental.
He
Yeah.
does, and I'm gonna go with Greenwood. I
But what
just,
about the footage, though?
I
Somebody
mean,
captured the footage.
someone did.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
don't
Keith,
know how
great job
someone
on
keeps
that.
up with all he keeps up with, but that was great.
Dog, who you taking in this one?
Coach Hill, a great guy, great coach, a great sense of humor as well. When he got there, this core bunch that are now seniors were sophomores, and they went 3-8 that
Yeah.
first year, and they built up last year to district champions, and now one of the top 4A with D2 teams in the state. That says a lot about them kids, about that coaching staff there. They've held firm, stuck it together, ups and downs. So playing the game there at Purser Field, J.M. King Stadium is a tough place to play. I'm going to take the Greenwood Rangers in this one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Coach Peters, you're nodding in
Yeah,
agreement there.
yeah, that's two good teams. Fort Stockton's a good football team. They've been for several years now. This group of seniors will be they were freshmen when I left there and went back to Saginaw. So and that they're a real good group. Um, I love those kids. They play hard, but I'm telling you, Coach Hill's got something special right now at
Mhm.
Greenwood, and he and his staff have done an incredible job of building that thing. And Greenwood is I mean, they may be one of the best around. So I'm going to take Greenwood in this one as well.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I shout out to Fort Stockton. They have progressively gotten better throughout this season, and I thought they looked really good against Snyder. They handled them pretty much with ease last week. But Greenwood's been a bit of a machine this year, and that baby blue offense, man, it just keeps humming. So I'm gonna take the Rangers also.
Wait a second. If you tell any Greenwood Ranger fan they're wearing baby blue, they will stop and correct you and say it's Columbia blue.
Well, I'm not that well versed, Mondo. All right, I went to Eastern New Mexico.
I know.
All right, game 7. The 2-5 Andrews Mustangs visit the Big Spring Steers that are 4-2-1. I don't know who they tied, but they are 4-2-1. Like the Cowboys a little bit, but all right, Coach Peters, I'll give you first bid on this one.
Yeah, it's a big matchup. It's our other two district foe. And Coach McWilliams has those guys playing well in Big Spring, and Andrews is Andrews. I mean, right now they're 2-5, but they're still the Andrews Mustangs. All of us are West Texas people. That means something. I mean,
Yeah,
they are what they are. They've been successful for the last 50 years in everything they do. So, um, are they going to Big Spring? Is it
yes,
at Big
sir.
Spring?
They go to Big Spring.
Um, well, I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna take Big Spring in this one.
I like it. Coach
Mhm.
mentioned Coach McWilliams, and we'll actually have them on in future episodes. We talked to them
Mhm.
a couple of weeks ago, so we should have them
Mhm.
on. Dog, who you taking?
Well, the last bit of news has surprised me. Anyways, what you just mentioned right there. Um, I've seen Andrews. Uh, I love that guys in the backfield. Jay Sean Bell Biv DuBose, I call him.
Yeah,
But now you know. Um, he's a tough kid. I also look at strength of schedule, and I would think Andrews is going to go to Memorial Stadium there in Big Spring and come out with the win.
okay, all right. Taking one for the Stangs. Busto, who you taking in this one?
I'm gonna have to disagree with the dog, and I think Big Spring's gonna win this one.
It's not
Yeah,
the first time you've disagreed
you
with me in
know,
anything. So
Nope.
Coach Coach mentioned it about Andrews, and I agree. They're scrappy, right? Like I mean, if you got to beat them, if you're gonna beat them, you got to beat them. And I do agree. There's a little bit of strength of schedule. I see that. Big Spring has put up points, though. They've operated their offense, and I think this will be a close matchup. I really do. But for some reason, I'm leaning towards the Steers. So give me Big Spring. Audie Frost, who you got?
I think Andrews got the tricky offense. I like what they did against you when I saw him play in Monahans. I'm gonna take the Mustangs.
All right. So we have
the slot
three,
T, you don't see it
three for
often.
the Stangs. Booster, who you got in this one?
Um, I said Big Spring.
Yeah.
You pick Big Spring. I was about to
So
say you
Coach
just disagreed
Peters,
with me.
myself, and Busta are our steers, and you guys are with the Stangs this weekend. There's a chain on the line, guys. There's a chain on the line.
I wore it once last year for all the viewers out there, just letting y'all know.
Well, the sun shines on a dog's tail every now and then, dog.
Mhm.
All right, Midland Christian. Again, I'm sorry. I picked against you last week. All right. Midland Christian's 5-2. They're headed to All Saints, who's 7-0. Audie, what do you think on this game?
I've seen Midland Christian a few times this year, and talk about a team. They're pretty solid all the way around. I'm gonna take the Sting. I'm gonna take the Stings on this one.
All right. Audie's giving the Mustangs a nod. Booster, who you got in this one?
I said All Saints.
All Saints out of Fort Worth. All right. Coach Peters, who you taking in this one?
Yeah, I tend to. I'm going to lean towards All Saints as well, so I'm taking All Saints.
All right. Dog,
Well,
heart
this right here
pick.
is going to be a hard pick. I love Jackson.
Yeah.
Action Jackson. I've called him
Yeah.
Action Jackson since he was little. I love that kid. I am not going against him. So
Yeah.
I also take the Mustangs.
Shout out to Jackson Franco. He has been dealing all 15 years old of him.
Yeah.
And All Saints is tough though. But I apologize to them at the beginning of this segment, and I'm done doubting the Midland Christian Mustangs. I'm done doubting you, okay? So give me MCS. All right, go Stangs. All right, we're headed to Odessa. This was the game that won me the chain last week by everybody picking Odessa over MHS, and I was the only one that could see the forest through the trees, dog.
Good
Friendship
for
is
you.
3-4, and they're headed to OHS, who's 0-7. They had a rough season so far. Busta, who you taking in this?
I'm going with Friendship.
All right, the Tigers are getting the nod from Busta.
Sorry,
Coach
Haney.
Peters, who you taking in this one?
I've got some guys over there at Odessa High, and they're doing a really good job, but I think Friendship may be a little too much for them this week,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
taking Friendship.
We love Eric Hartman, man. Fred Howard's a good guy over there too,
Yeah.
man. Good guys. So, Audie, who's your pick in this one? Friendship or OHS?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Tigers on this one.
Yeah. Dog?
Well, Coach Hartman, Coach Howard, both ASU grads. Just letting y'all know that out in the air, since this is an ASU podcast, it seems like. Um, um, I sat down, I thought real hard, and I made the choice in this game of which town had the better barbecue, and that is by far Evie Mae's in Wolfforth. If you're ever up there, stop get your barbecue. Based on that, I got Friendship.
Yeah, I think Friendships just has more weapons, I'll be
Yeah.
honest. So I think Tigers by a few scores, not gonna lie. Give me Friendship. All right, Midland High's 2-5. They're headed over to San Angelo Central. They're 3-4. Dog, what you think in this one?
Central played Mojo extremely well last weekend.
Yeah.
Based on that, I'm going with the Bobcats because of Henry's Diner down there. If you ever in San Angelo, stop at Henry's Diner.
All right. Well, you gotta start getting some sponsorships for them. If you're gonna be mentioning all these people, we gotta
Right?
give us a free burger or something. Booster, who you
It's
taking
about the
in this one?
restaurants.
Hey, I didn't graduate from ASU, but I went there for a year and a half. Crazy, right? Is my favorite of all six of my colleges. I'm going with San Angelo Central.
Yeah. What about you, Audie?
Yeah, Central played Permian pretty well. I'm gonna take Central.
Man, I'm hoping for some reason I have a feeling that this one might be tight. Um, Both teams are kind of fighting to stay alive. Maybe they get that option rolling over there. I'm gonna be the only one to take Midland High again. Last week I was the only one to. Give me the dogs. I'm in the doghouse.
That chain is making you really confident.
You know, I'm playing with house money at this point, Boosta. All right. All right. Our game of the week. So we'll pick our winner and then you'll pick your score that you think the game is going to end at. Okay. Permian, Mojo Nation, stand up. You're 6-1 versus Midland Lee, who's 3-4. But those three losses were to some like stellar opponents. So you kind of got to throw that record out the window a little bit, especially in this district and these two teams. both teams are playing pretty dang good right now. Dog, I'll give you first take on this one.
Well, this is a long rivalry, since 1980s. They duked it out for district championships and state runs and all that stuff. But uh, both are well coached teams. It's going to be a nail biter as usual in these type of ball games. Um, is this at Ratliff or is this at
They're up in Midland.
Grande? Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's not Grande anymore.
It's Astound.
I'm gonna call it Grande
Yeah, I
because that's
got you.
what it was called. Like Heinz Field. Heinz Field is Heinz Field, not
Like the
Acrisure.
ballpark in
Uh,
Arlington, not
no, yeah,
whatever it
uh-huh,
is. Yeah, I got
yeah.
you.
I got Mojo on this one.
All right. The black and white for Moondog. Audie Frost, what you thinking?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's gonna be a nail biter. It's gonna come down to whoever does the little things right. But I am gonna take Mojo.
All right. Boosta,
I'm also going to take Permian, and I think it's going to be 34-17.
34-17.
Oh yeah, I forgot to give
Yeah,
my
so,
score.
yeah, I said the rules too, and I completely forgot also. Mondo, you picked Permian, and
Uh-huh.
what is your score?
28-24.
28-24. Audie, you picked Permian also. What do you think the
Yeah,
score is going to be?
I'm gonna take 28, 20, 21.
28-21. All right, Coach Peters, what's your take on this game?
Yeah, classic rivalry game. This is the whole thing. We started this whole thing with talking about West Texas football, and all of us from six man up. You know, everybody watches the Lee Permian score come out on Saturday morning. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a fan. You even know they're kind of the two teams out here that have always historically been state champion. They've kind of carried the flag for us, and so it is a huge game, and it's rival games are hard to win. Yeah, the weather, the officiating, the turnovers, all that. But I think it's going to come down to who's ready to play on that. And I'll go back to what y'all said about strength of schedule. I think that Lee has been in these games three or four times already this year, and so some of those rivalry jitters they may not have. So I'm taking Lee in this one.
Ooh, shout out to JP Rez at the helm for the Rebels this weekend. I like it, Coach. As you guys said, it is a historic rivalry, and these guys are top of the district right now. This is a championship on the line. I've stuck with these guys all year long. Jacob Garcia, Navarrete, Gavin Black. I've stuck with them all year long. Give me the Panthers, guys. I am saying they're going to win 38-35 in a thriller.
Yeah, I'll go
Woo.
back 41-30, 41-38
So coach
Midland
has got
Lee
a
for me.
thriller in it too. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's going to be tight, man. They get after each other, so that's awesome, man. All right, well that does it for this week's Pick'ems. You guys make sure and follow us on TikTok, Spotify, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Mondo's got us on some bootleg radio stations, I think, too. I don't know. You just never know with the dog. He does kind of crazy stuff. But, man, another great show in the books, guys. Coach Peters, can't thank you enough for coming on. We
Uh-huh.
really appreciate your time and spending some quality knowledge with us and about what you're doing over there in Pecos.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you guys for having me, man. It's a big honor, what you guys are doing for the Permian Basin and for our people out here, that's a huge deal. We don't get a lot of that, and so every time we get a chance, and this thing, like you said, it's growing, and hopefully we'll get that some more publicity for our teams and our towns out here. I know there'll be some people back in Fort Worth. I'll send them the link, and so they'll start. Maybe we can get some of that going. So,
For sure.
Good deal. Yes, sir.
you know, I did want to add one thing, if it's all right, Keith. But at
Please.
the
Of
end of this,
course.
we talked about that question about advice for young coaches, and one of I went through all those things, but one of the things that is very, very important is going to be their family. And so, those young guys getting married, young girls getting married, that part needs to be explained because that's going to be tough. My wife has been, she's the biggest fan around. So wherever we've been, she's the biggest fan, and that's not always the case when I'm telling her, hey, we're moving again. It's not always that simple, but she knows what we do, and she's been super supportive and all that, and so finding someone to do that with is very important for all those young coaches getting into the profession.
Dropping
There's
knowledge,
nobody
baby.
there's nobody tougher than a coach's wife.
Yeah,
That is correct.
for sure,
That is
man.
correct.
Also, thanks to Jace Martinez for jumping on with us. West Texas guys, we're proud of those athletes. And one thing that I do want him to know is that whether if he ever pitches again, as long as he finishes his degree, and I know he's
Hmm.
going to be a model citizen, and hopefully we keep him in the
Correct.
Permian Basin. So special shout out to him, his prayers, and his family. Man, they're good people out there. So. Special thanks to our sponsors, Double T Services, Kodiak Gas, HZ Services, and Texas Farm Bureau. But as always, guys, play hard, lead strong. That's the 33 lead way. This is the Permian Basin Playbook podcast signing off. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you on TikTok.
Thank
Later.
you.